Just like the Sony XB31, the Sony XB21 is a refined version of the previous Sony XB20. Now, I really like the new design and durability improvements found on the Sony XB31 and Sony XB41. But unfortunately, I don't think the new design language carried over very well to the Sony XB21. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still pretty good, but I still prefer the looks of the Sony XB20 over the new Sony XB21. The Sony XB21 is the smallest and most affordable speaker in Sony's newest portable Bluetooth speaker lineup. It currently retails for $99.99 and it comes in 4 colorways: black, blue, red, or white. The older Sony XB20 is now going for as low as $70. If you want to pick up either of these speakers, I'll have a link in the description below, and if you use the link, it really helps out the channel. Personally, I would pick up the Sony XB20 before they're gone, and I highly suggest you check out the Sony XB21 because Sony products routinely go on sale, so you never know. Under the hood, the Sony XB21 is rocking very similar internals to the Sony XB20. They both use Bluetooth 4.2, they both charge via a micro USB cable, and they both have an aux jack. They both have 1.65-inch diameter transducers and dual passive radiators that shoot out the front and out the back. Both of these speakers also feature a light feature on the front, but they look and perform very differently. Both the light features on the Sony XB31 and XB41 have been improved from their previous generation. They're much more vibrant and they look much better, but on the other hand, I feel the light feature on the XB21 doesn't look nearly as good as the XB20. The light feature on the XB20 is much easier to see and it's much more dramatic. Just like the XB31 and XB41, the XB21 now has a fabric outer shell, but I don't think the XB21 looks nearly as good as its larger brothers due to its proportions and how visible the light strip is. It kind of looks like a rectangular baseball to me. Personally, I prefer the pill-shaped industrial look the XB20 has with its exposed speakers, painted metal grille on the front, and soft touch body. I know looks are completely subjective, so comment down below with which design you prefer, but the XB21's new shape does give it the ability to stand up straight, while the XB20 can only be laid flat. Okay, now that I've ranted about the XB21's design, let's talk about its improvements over the XB20. In general, Sony's new speakers are way more durable than its older speakers. The Sony XB20 is just IPX5 rated, so a splash of water here and there isn't going to be a problem, but you should still take it easy on the XB20. You shouldn't submerge it, and I would try to avoid getting sand in it. The XB21, on the other hand, is IP67 rated, so it's dustproof, it's waterproof, and it also floats, and Sony also claims that it's shockproof now as well. Having all of this extra durability is always a very welcome feature for small portable Bluetooth speakers that are meant to go with you everywhere. Battery life on these speakers is also pretty much the same. Both of these speakers advertise a battery life of 12 hours, but only actually expect to hit those numbers if you use these speakers with the volume set at 50% and with the light feature turned off. Real-world use with the light feature turned on and with the volume set at 80%, I managed to get about 6 hours of playback time before the speaker started to interrupt the music every 30 seconds or so by saying, "Please charge." But 6 hours of battery life with these guys, still pretty good. And let's get into the sound test. Like a real love, but it goes so fast, all tied up like a captive. Almost here, used to pay my love life, standing on rainbows, playing the cool. I haven't felt this in ages, and I know my patience, so won't you please stay up in line? Unlike the Sony XB30 and Sony XB31, which sound exactly the same in their default settings, I actually think the Sony XB20 sounds better than the Sony XB21 when they both have the extra bass feature turned on. Now, both of these speakers have the same amount of bass, but I feel the sound is much fuller and mids and vocals are much more pronounced on the XB20 than on the XB21. And for those who might not be familiar with Sony's extra bass lineup, these speakers are on the warmer side, so they're going to be better for rap, hip-hop, or EDM, because they're going to put an emphasis on the bass. If you listen to rock, pop, or anything with an emphasis on vocals, then you're going to think these speakers sound a little muddy. But if you head over to Sony's Music Center app, you'll find a sound mode called Live Sound. And Live Sound is different from just having the extra bass feature turned off. With Live Sound turned on, the bass on the XB21 is lowered a little bit, mids and vocalists are pushed to the front, and the treble is increased a little bit as well. This is the setting you want to use if you're not listening to a lot of rap. Unfortunately, the XB20 doesn't have this setting, but you can always just change the equalizer setting on either of these speakers through the app. When listening to a podcast, I usually like to turn off the extra bass feature on the XB20, and it's super easy. You literally just press the extra bass button. The XB21 doesn't have a dedicated extra bass button anymore, but you can still turn off the feature by pressing and holding the play and minus button at the same time until the power indicator light turns green. And to turn the extra bass feature back on, all you have to do is press and hold the play and minus button again until the light turns white again. Regarding connectivity, both of these speakers have the same wireless range of about 50 feet, and they both have surprisingly very little latency when watching video. Now, you can connect up to 100 Sony speakers together, which Sony calls wireless party chain. Anything from the XB20 all the way up to the XB90, and they'll all play in sync. And the newer XB21 connects to the XB20 with no problems. If you want to learn how to pair these speakers up, just watch my tutorial. But if you want to get left and right stereo sound going, you need to have two of the same speakers. Unfortunately, the XB20 and XB21 won't play in stereo mode, only in sync. Sony's app also allows you to play around with the light feature found on both of these speakers, and you have the same three options. There's Rave, where the lights will flash to the beat of your music, there's Chill, where the lights will gradually blink on and off, and then there's Strobe. But unlike the larger Sony speakers, the light feature on the XB20 and XB21 doesn't change color. And like I mentioned earlier, I feel the light feature on the older XB20 looks much better than the one on the XB21. To me, the light feature on the Sony XB21 just kind of looks like somebody just super glued an LED to the front. Sony's Party Booster mode also made its way over to the XB21. I mean, it's nothing more than a gimmick, but if you're more talented than me, maybe you can make your own beat. Okay, and here's the microphone test. Just like the Sony XB31, the microphone on the Sony XB21 isn't that good. So if you get a phone call, pick it up from your phone, because if you try to use the speaker, nobody's really going to be able to hear you. Personally, I still like the XB20 more than the XB21. I feel it looks much better than the XB21, and I think it sounds slightly better than the XB21 right out of the box. But the XB21 is much more durable than the XB20, which was kind of its Achilles heel when comparing it to the JBL Flip 4. There's still room for improvement on the XB21. I would have really liked if it used a USB-C port for charging instead of a micro USB port. I would have liked if I could use it as a battery bank for my phone, and I would like to cycle through the light settings directly from the speaker instead of having to open up the app every single time. The XB21 is okay, but I think you're better off getting the XB20 before they're gone, or spend the extra $50 and get the XB31. Like, you can't go wrong with the XB31. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit that like button and get subscribed. It helps out more than you realize. Support the channel by clicking on the links down below, and I'll catch you next time.